One of LIV's biggest names, Phil Mickelson, is not pleased with the way the professional golf tour, PGA, is run, and he has been pointing fingers at those he claims are responsible for the setbacks. Since Mickelson joined the Saudi-backed league, he has become more vocal in the criticism of the PGA, and quite recently, the PGA Tour Commissioner, Monahan, was on the receiving end of his wrath. It wasn't pretty. So what exactly are the reservations Mickelson has against the PGA Tour Commissioner? Welcome to the Golf Caddy, where we take you inside the ropes into the world of golf from a former caddy. The 52-year-old golfer was one of the first golfers to cross to LIV upon its debut in 2022, and this was because he already had a huge problem with the way things were run at the PGA Tour. A few months before he announced that he was jumping ship, he accused Monahan and his cohort of obnoxious greed. He claimed that the tour would rather pay millions to anyone who might seem like a threat than give players the payment they deserved. So when LIV offered a $200 million deal for him to join, he pushed aside whatever reservations he had against the Saudi-backed league and made the move. He knew there would be repercussions for the move and even helped pour some gasoline on the fire. The drama was initially caused by the PGA Tour losing reputable golfers to the Saudi-backed league because they could afford to pay more, or rather, they were willing to pay more. Then the gap grew wider when the PGA suspended all the golfers who moved to LIV from participating in any PGA event. This move by the PGA Tour caused Mickelson and his fellow LIV golfers to become quite critical of the management and even the structure of the tour in general. Sometime in 2022, Mickelson mentioned that the PGA Tour would only trend backwards if they stuck to their old ways. "I firmly believe that I'm on the winning side of how things are going to evolve and shape in the coming years for professional golf. I see LIV Golf trending upwards, I see the PGA Tour trending downwards, and I love the side that I'm on, and I love how I feel." Although he faced a backlash for his comments, Mickelson stood his ground and continued criticizing the PGA Tour. In August 2023, Mickelson and some of his LIV colleagues filed a lawsuit against the PGA Tour for their unlawful suspension. But Monahan was ready with a response, saying there was no way they'd let them return, lawsuit or not. These suspended players, who are now Saudi Golf League employees, have walked away from the tour and now want back in. To allow re-entry into our events compromises the tour and the competition to the detriment of our organization, our players, our partners, and our fans. To further ensure whatever LIV did in the world of golf was met with a roadblock, the PGA Tour led by Monahan continued to rip the LIV League with unfavorable comments, emphasizing that LIV was not going to have a positive effect on the way things are done in professional golf. "We welcome the good, healthy competition. The LIV Saudi Golf League is not that. It's an irrational threat, one not concerned with the return on investment or true growth of the game." Then things took a surprising turn in early 2023. The commissioner announced that from 2024 there would be designated tournaments which will feature a reduced field of 70 to 80 players with no cut. The announcement clearly indicated that they were picking bits and pieces from LIV's handbook. This announcement particularly angered Mickelson because he claimed he had suggested to Monahan before leaving the tour to introduce such events and was met with a negative response and not even a consideration. So Mickelson's concerns were, why did Monahan backtrack on his initial decision if the proposal was not reasonable? In a tweet he made on X, Mickelson had explained the whole ordeal. "Before I left, I brought a $1 billion commitment from a current PGA Tour partner to have 8 elevated events and give equity and ownership in these events to the players." JM's quote was, "I don't believe the league is going to happen, so we won't be doing that. No vote, no discussion." That tweet showed that Monahan single-handedly made the decision to decline the offer without tabling it to the PGA board, and it gave an insight to who Mickelson blamed for the feud between LIV and PGA. However, he kept his thoughts to himself until the PGA announced that they would be partnering up with LIV in the future. The PGA Tour Commissioner had sent shockwaves to the world of golf when he announced that they will be putting their differences aside and come together for a partnership. Although one of the reasons Monahan stated for reaching the agreement was to put an end to the division that had erupted after LIV joined. Mickelson scoffed at the idea. The 52-year-old couldn't help but feel resentment towards the commissioner for putting him and his LIV colleagues, who had formerly been members of the PGA, through hardships. However, with the new agreement in view, Mickelson was quite pleased that the elite sport was heading in the right direction. Then signs began to show that the negotiations were not going at the expected pace because different issues were springing up. During the initial announcement, it was revealed that both parties would reach a proper agreement by December 31st, 2023, so that it would reflect in the structure of the 2024 season. But by November 2023, it was clear that they were nowhere close to reaching an agreement because of reasons ranging from antitrust issues, reservations from the PGA golfers, to finalizing the structure of the agreement. Although some of these issues were not directly Monahan's fault, Mickelson couldn't help but agree to a suggestion of the commissioner calling it quits once the agreements were finalized. After the framework agreement was announced, rumors about the commissioner stepping down after the agreement was finalized followed suit. And these rumors intensified when Mickelson reacted to a tweet where a golf commentator, 𝗵𝗡𝗆𝗆, criticized Monahan's rule and mentioned several reasons he could be fired. Mickelson had agreed to the comment and said that Monahan was the reason behind everything wrong with golf. He also said that if Monahan was still on PGA's board, there was not going to be a path forward with golf. Well said. In addition to strong-arming LIV players, losing trust with his players, and all credibility with his staff, golf is in this situation entirely because of him. There's no unity or path forward with him involved, in my opinion as well. Indeed, it would be quite difficult for LIV players to welcome Monahan with open arms after everything that ensued, but Mickelson was right about him losing the trust of his players. The issue arose when Monahan went behind their back to reach a framework agreement with the PIF. Many of them couldn't get over the fact that Monahan and his fellow board members had portrayed the Saudi-backed platform as everything wrong with golf and went behind their back to reach an agreement. Kyle Westmoreland, a PGA Tour rookie, described how he and his colleague felt after the announcement. The new tour member mentioned that the ordeal could have been handled better. When change like this is sprung on people without any warning and it is so opposite of what was said and preached in the past, you are going to lose some faith in your leadership. The veteran player Tiger Woods, who later became a player's representative of the PGA Tour Policy Board, also recently shared how he felt when he found out about the agreement. He said he was shocked and surprised because they had all not seen it coming. But he mentioned that despite Jay making a mistake by informing them later, it wasn't enough to want him out of the system, and that now he knew better. In a statement describing his confidence in Monahan, Woods said, "I think Jay has been a part of the direction. He understands what happened prior, so that can't happen again and won't happen again. That was part of why I came on to the board, is I did have faith in Jay and what he could do going forward and what can't happen again." Another golfer, Billy Horschel, also agreed to cut Jay some slack in a statement he made after the PIF PGA Tour announcement. He said that Jay was the commissioner, but he answered to some other top executives, which meant he didn't spearhead most of his decisions and was only a spokesperson, so it would be unreasonable to place all the blame on him. But despite some of the golfers sticking up for Monahan, Mickelson and his supporters' stance is not completely invalid. It's not easy to accept a person who has ridiculed you and what you support, even if they return with apologies. Right now, there's nothing conclusive on what Jay Monahan's future in PGA would be, and there are no clear signs that his position is threatened. But what do you think would be the best for golf going forward? Should Monahan stay or leave? Kindly let us know in the comments section. Also, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.